Joe Burrow surprised a lot of people when he made the comments he made about T Higgins. Hear what he said about T's future, plus get my reaction and much, much more right now on Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to CBT. I'm James Rapien of BengalsTalk.com. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, join the 50. That's right, 50 with a 5,000 subscribers and Bengals fans that watch this channel, that support this channel. Thanks to each and every one of you. We've reached that number. Andrew and I couldn't be more grateful and thankful for each and every one of you. And today's video, by the way, brought to you by BetUS. Look, it is a huge offseason for the Cincinnati Bengals. And one of those dominoes is T Higgins. And it felt like everyone knew, me, you, everyone knew that T Higgins was going to be out the door. In fact, it felt like the door was shut on the idea that T Higgins could be back next year. It felt like the door was locked on the idea that T Higgins could sign a long-term extension with the Cincinnati Bengals. And not just locked, like triple bolted and sealed up top and then sealed at the bottom. And then they had a welder come in and completely weld the door shut. Like it felt like it was over. It was done. Well, maybe not. Why? Why is there hope? It's pretty simple. Joe Burrow, when he speaks, everyone should listen. Happy birthday to Joe, by the way. He is 28 years old today. And Batmobile or not, his mindset is not only keeping Jamar Chase long term, he wants T. Higgins with him in Cincinnati for the foreseeable future.
And those discussions are ongoing, and I'm confident that I think we're going to be able to do what it takes to bring T back. And I know that I'm going to do what it takes to get him back, and so is he. We've had those talks, so those are going to be off-season discussions, but I think we're excited about that opportunity.
What gives you that confidence that you'd be able to get T Higgins back based off of what's gone on so far?
We'll see. You feel his presence when he's out there. You feel his presence. You feel how it affects the defense. You feel how it affects the defensive coordinator's calls. Even if he's not super productive on a night, teams have to worry about him. You feel his presence. The defense is worried about him, and you feel that.
So does that mean T. Higgins is definitely signing with the Bengals? Well, no, not necessarily. I know Jamar wants him back. I think T is open to being back. I think T also is aware of where he's at, of where the franchise has been in contract talks. But I do think it's interesting. And it starts here. When you're Joe Burrow and you're in your fifth season, you're 28 as of today, again, happy birthday, Joe. It's like, all right, I'm going to wield my power a little bit. And there is no one more powerful in the Bengals organization. That includes Mike Brown, it includes the entire front office. You can add whoever you want than Joe Burrow. He is the guy that has the power to move things, to make change, to push for things to happen. And I don't believe he's done that. I think he's given his opinion in the past, but I don't believe he said, no, this is my guy, keep him. And he does have that power. And so it would have been, even if T said he wanted to stay, that to me doesn't have as much value as what Joe said on Monday night. It is that powerful. Because if he does that, and I'm going to get into how Joe can impact things, but if he does that, and he said he's willing to do what it takes, T is willing to do what it takes, well then, agents aside, front offices aside, they can find common ground. And I think that's what's interesting. Joe Burrow also said that Jamar Chase deserves every penny. So common ground doesn't necessarily mean that Jamar's going to take a discount for T or that T's going to take a discount for Jamar, or that Joe's going to take a discount for that matter. And they shouldn't need to. They don't need to. And I'm going to get into Joe's contract coming up in just a second. But first, I got to tell you about BetUS. Today's video is brought to you by BetUS. Make sure you use code YouTube150 to get a 150% deposit bonus on that first deposit. And then you'll get a 125% deposit bonus on your next two deposits. Maybe you think the Bengals are going to win back-to-back games. Maybe you think that they're going to go from 5-8 to 6-8 and beat the Titans. And yes, they're favored over the Titans this week. Well, you can wager on them. You could wager on Joe Burrow. Heck, there's plenty of prop bets with Jamar Chase. You could do same game parlays. You tie in a T Higgins touchdown with a Jamar Chase touchdown. You think both are going to score. The point is the possibilities are limitless with BetUS, and that's why you got to get in the game today. Go to betus.com. Use code YouTube150. You'll get a 150% bonus on your first deposit. Again, betus.com, promo code YouTube150. Joe Burrow has a chance to impact things. When he said he has the ability, or I'm paraphrasing here, but when he said he's going to do what it takes for him, like in his realm, I think has to do with restructuring his contract. And that's how they set up his contract anyway. Next year, he can restructure his contract. He can give the Bengals extra cap space. That's how they set it up. That's why when people say, oh, well, Joe didn't sign a team-friendly deal. He took every dollar. It's like, no, actually, look at the contract structure. It's very team-friendly. He added an extra year in there that he didn't have to add. He took his value. He got his worth. But there's also flexibility in there that it gives the Bengals. And so Joe can do something to give the Bengals cap space, and not just cap space. They have plenty of cap space, and they're going to have a ton this offseason, but even more cap space to add to the team, to maneuver, to make sure that they can keep Joe, Jamar, and T together. And this has always been my mindset. In January, when the season's over, my number one thing wasn't about Jamar Chase and re-signing him. It was about T Higgins. And the wide receiver market's changed. And that would be my concern when it comes to keeping T Higgins. It's like, all right, well, the market's changed. How do you keep up with it? Get him a market deal. Also get Jamar Chase a market deal. They can, but it's going to take, and Jamar Chase said chess, it's going to take this front office to get pushed. And I think Joe Burrow knows that. And I think that's what he was doing. No one had that on their bingo card. The Bengals win 27-20. Jamar Chase is dominant with 14 catches. T Higgins has a season low 2 catches on 5 targets. And Joe comes out and says, yeah, we better keep T. I think we're going to keep T. No one on the planet thought that going into that game. And Joe's like, no, here. He's grabbing the staff and he's starting to wield that power. And that's the key. And I get it. I understand it. Who else are you paying? Who else are you paying? If you're Joe Burrow, you want to keep a guy that you can bank on, a guy that makes this offense special. And Joe and Jamar are amazing. But having T there is huge for an offense that is going to be relied upon. And without him, wide receiver is one of their biggest offseason needs instantly. Might not be the case if they can keep T Higgins long term. That door seemed shut. Now it's at least cracked. It's at least open. It's open a little bit. So who knows? Maybe Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T Higgins, the trio will stay together, not just next season, but beyond that. For more, make sure you check out BengalsTalk.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. Shout out to our sponsor, BetUS. And for Andrew Fox-Miller, I'm James Rapien. Make sure you check out our live show if you missed it. Our live show post-game, a special edition of Enter the Jungle on Monday night. It was a lot of fun. Interacted with a lot of listeners. Gave our thoughts on the game, thoughts on the Bengals' 5th win of the year, thoughts on them finishing, on Joe Burrow, on the offensive line, the defense, and so much more. Plus, Andrew had an awesome nickname for Cade York, the new Bengals kicker. So, for Andrew Fox-Miller, I'm James Rapien. Check that out. And until next time, thank you so much for watching Cincinnati Bengals Talk.